Okay, so we are in the middle of Perek Chav Gimel. Two announcements. Announcement number one, this is probably the last share before Yom Tov, because I can't imagine we're going to get another share in at all. So just number one, this is we're finishing it over here. This is where we're picking it up. And Be'ez Hashem, after Yom Tov, after Pesach, we will continue with Siyata Deshmaya. That's it. This is going to be the last one. I'm in the middle. It's not going to work. And then this is a hard Perek. So hold on to your seatbelts, or fasten your seatbelts, because we're going to go a bit. We're not going to go fast, but it's not an easy one, okay? So we started like this. We're trying to figure out over here, and the beginning of Perek Chav Gimel specifically, let's just go back for a second so we can understand how to go into where we're holding, is that the mitzvahs that the Rabbeinu Shalom gave us are what the Zohar Kodesh calls Evrei de Malka. They're the limbs of the Melech, of the king. And we explained that just like our limbs are bottled to our mind and our das of what we want to do, so too the mitzvahs are basically bottle themselves to the Rabbeinu Shalom's das. That means when you do the mitzvahs, then you're basically putting yourself into that bittul and you're being Makar in the Ratzon Hashem. Ratzon Hashem. That's what we pretty much kind of covered. Now let's move on now to Torah. What is the difference between doing a mitzvah, a Maisa mitzvah, giving stokah, chesed, whatever, tzitzis, tefillin, dalet minim, whatever, or sitting and learning Torah? So when a person does a mitzvah, this is a good introduction before we start this paragraph. When a person does a mitzvah, it's because he wants to do the Ratzon Hashem in the world, and that's his hisbattlus that a person does. He's making himself a platform to the Rabbeinu Shalom, to the Ratzon Hashem in this world. However, the inner self inside you doesn't really have any full understanding of what's going on. Masha Enkein. When a person sits and learns Torah and he understands the Torah that he's learning, his whole self has become absorbed and connected, to that kaviyachol, to the Rabbeinu Shalom himself, okay? And he becomes attached to the Rabbeinu Shalom, very different to doing a mitzvah. That's what the Tanya is going to explain to us now, the chilek between mitzvahs and learning Torah. Hamachshava v'ahiru b'divrei Torah. Right? Now, just remember, Perek Hey, all the way back, we learned in Perek Hey that the Balatanya taught us that the Torah creates a greater connection to Hashem than doing mitzvahs. Okay, that's where this comes from. So, machshava v'ahiru b'divrei Torah. This machshava and hero in learning in Torah should be moyach v'koyach hadibur b'divrei Torah. It's in your brain. You're thinking about it. You're understanding it. You're contemplating it, and you're speaking divrei Torah sheba peh. Shehem levushim apnimim shel nefesh halakis. That's the innermost ratzon, right? We spoke about this previously of the Rabbeinu Shalom. V'kol shegen nefesh halakis atzmo b'lebesh mahem. Kulam miyuchadim mamish b'yichud gama b'ratzon ha'enon v'loy merkava levad. Yesterday we spoke about this idea of a merkava, that when we do a mitzvah, then that limb becomes like a vehicle in that case. Whereas when you learn Torah, you actually merge, kaviyachol, so to speak, with the actual Ratzon Hashem, with the divine will. It's very different to a merkava, which is separate to Hashem, but it's what Hashem wants. This is a chilek of Hashem. Ki Ratzon Ha'elyon hu hadov ha'alocha atzma shemahara medababa shekol ha'alocha same protim machshavas pnimius Ratzon Ha'elyon atzmai. But Tanya was very into halacha, and as you see from the Shulchan Aruch Harav, so therefore he's telling us all the halachas and all of the details that stem from those halachas. Shekach ola b'ritzoni yisparach shadov zemuta oikasher poto zakor le'ebach. When you open up a Shulchan Aruch and you see this is muta, this is asa, this is kosher, this is posel, what exactly is going on? That's Das Hashem. That is intrinsically what Hashem wants. I don't know if you remember this, but we heard this years ago in Yeshiva, that I think it was Rabbi Shlomo Rubinstein said this, that when you read the Mishnah in Bab Metzia, Shnayim Orchzim Batalis. Everybody knows the Mishnah, right? Two people are fighting over talis. Zaima and Imusasiya. Zaima and Imusasiya. Each person says, I found it first. The Mishnah says, Yachloiku. How you meant to read is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oimer Yachloiku. It's the psak in the Mishnah is the Rabbeinu Shalom talking. It's Das Hashem. So Mimela, when you learn halacha, when you learn something that's got to do with muta, asa, pata, whatever it is that you're learning Das Hashem. That's the panemius ratzon of the Rabbeinu Shalom. V'chein kol tziruf v'oisis tenach hein amshachas v'tzoyin v'chachmasom yichodos be'ein say baruch hu atachas hayichod. That means it's an amazing thing that the Rabbeinu Shalom shaped the letters of Tanakh into his expression. That's what Kabbalah tells us. That's why, by the way, the Gemara tells us in Megillah, we spoke about it by Shiva, we spoke about it by Asar B'Teves, that when they translated the Torah into Greek, the greatest tragedy, it caused the world to plunge into darkness. Why? Because you took away the panemius of the Torah, took away the letters. The letters are also holy. They're also part of Das Hashem. That's what the Baal Tanya is telling us. When you learn Tanakh, it's a hemshech of Ritzono v'chachmasai. It's a very important thing. Shehu ha'yodeya v'hu ha'amada. It's from the Rambam that we said many, many times about the Maisa, right at the beginning of Tanya. We said that the Ribbono Shel Olam and his seichel is all one, as opposed to our seichel, human seichel, is separate to a human being. You have a human being and you have his seichel. By the Ribbono Shel Olam, him and his seichel, capital H, is all one. That's Lashon Rambam. Hu yodeya v'hu ha'amada. The Zesh Omru, that's the pshat. Let's go back to what we said right at the beginning of this Perek Chov Gimel. That the Torah and the Ribbono Shel Olam is one. It's unlike the mitzvahs, which are what we say organs or limbs of the Melech, of the Ribbono Shel Olam, because they are separate from him. Okay, you cannot connect to Hashem when you connect to a mitzvah like connecting to Torah, because you're connecting to Hashem. You with me? That's the connection when you're learning Torah. It's completely different. In that, when a person is getting involved with that Ratzon Hashem, it's Gilu Legamre, it's completely revealed. There's nothing hidden in the Nefesh HaKis. In the Nefesh HaKis. At the time that a person is osik in Torah, his neshama is connecting mamish to what's going on by Das Hashem. That means the neshama and all of the garments of the neshama, right? We spoke about many times, right? That's dibur and machshava and Maisa are completely at that moment emerged with the Ribbono Shel Olam at the moment that you're learning Torah in that case. There is no level of hiding in that case. Nothing is hidden. Everything is completely open in that case when you're learning Torah. So in other words, there's a major difference between what he's saying in Perek Hey and what he says over here about learning Torah. In Perek Hey, we're saying that the Ribbono Shel Olam and the mitzvahs are separate, right? But they come together when you experience them. Over here, what we're saying is the mind literally merges with the Ribbono Shel Olam's das in that case when you are learning Torah and everything's open. V'lo oid, he continues, not only that. Ella, sheyichudam hu b'yasas eis v'yasa ois miyichud or ein soy baruch hu ba'olamos ha'elyonim. That means what he's saying over here is this merge that we're talking about, that connects the Nefesh HaKis that happens when a person learns Torah, and all of the levushim, the garments of his soul, that's machshava, dibur, and maisa, together with the Ribbono Shel Olam, is actually more powerful than anything that happens ba'olam ha'selonim, in the upper world. Why? Since that was the ratzon of the Ribbono Shel Olam to be megala, the nefesh u'levusheha, not only the neshama but also all of the levushim, all of the garments over there in that case. Okay, that means when the divine soul, the Nefesh HaKis, is learning Torah in this case, then the Ratzon Hashem is fully open to it. That is the Torah. Like Rosh Pinker says, when you buy a car, you don't get the driver at the same time. You can't say to the driver, oh, I bought you as well. That's not how it works. You bought a car, you say to the owner, thank you so much, I appreciate it, go on your way. But Rosh Pinker, and this basically comes from the Tanya, when you buy into Torah, when you learn Torah, you're getting the owner also. You're getting the Ribbono Shel Olam together with the Torah. And all of the upper worlds are Makayim, are their Makabal, they get there, they receive their chiyus, their energy, their power from the Torah. She would say Kidik said, Kulam b'chachma, Sisa said every day in Shachris. Everything the Ribbono Shel Olam was with Chachma Vim Kain. HaChachma she had Torah l'mana b'kulam. V'hi would say Yisbarach and Nikos Soiviv Kulamim. That you can't say that that's what the Zohar says, that the Torah is occupying the same space as the world. So Mela, it's sort of around the world. She bechenes mashe in yochel eslabash b'soich halamim. It gives it sustenance or meir, illumination. L'mala b'chenes makif, like it surrounds it. When you are osik in Torah, that's what happens. It dresses in that. Even if you yourself don't experience it, don't feel it, don't understand it, doesn't mean anything to you. That is the Mitzvos, is what's happening. Because of that, now we can understand. Let's go back now. We all know Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. Torah is the greatest thing in the world. Nefesh HaChaim says the same thing, Shadalit, that the greatest thing in the world is Talmud Torah. And people think that it's psalitlische Zach, but Chassidus nicht so. It's mamish no shaychus. The Tanya says it, it's brought down everywhere. Torah is the greatest thing in the world. Why? And now he's explaining what's the pshat, that the mile of Torah is way greater than all the mitzvahs. Even in tefillah, right? At the end of the day, Torah is miyached all of the olamos. You'll tell me, but if you're not learning all day, you're allowed to go to work, you're allowed to stop, you're allowed to do other things, you're allowed to interrupt. What's the pshat? Why? It's the greatest thing in the world. Why are you even stopping to do a mitzvah? Right? The Shulchan Aruch says, right now, Mavatlan Talmud Torah, Shema Mikra Megillah. How can that be? Learning Torah is the greatest thing in the world. Why are you stopping to learn Torah in order to listen to Megillah? Hainu, because anyway you're Mavatl at different times, but then you can Mavatl even for mitzvahs also. Avada Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was never Mavatl, so Nachanami, he's allowed to continue. Yuchal Hamaske, I'm sorry that we're going fast. Now the person that understands can understand and can receive and to be mamshech. There's tremendous yira when a person's oisik in Torah. Again, not lilmud Torah. Oisik means you make it into a business, you make it into a zach, you make it into something that you're busy with. That when you realize that when you're learning Torah, you are at that moment making your moach, your brain, and your piv speaking the Torah, you're being miyachad things that are going on in Shemayim va'orein soibo chumamish hamislagabem mashakoloi lomus elyonim v'taktonim koloi chavish kamei. That in front of the Rabbanim Shalom they consider to be nothing, and you're doing that b'shas ma'isa when you're learning Torah. Or ka'ayim ve'evus mamish ad she'enim mislabish b'soicha mamish and soiv kolomim. They're so big that they can't even be contained in the wall. They have to be surrounded in the wall. But b'chenes makib lach yosem ikach yosem. V'k'eza orim mislabish b'soich ma she'yachol mispo shelevatim m'sisagami. Just that they don't become bottled. There's a little bit of light that's still left over. This is the pshat in the pasuk. Vayitzavenu Hashem as kol hachukim eila yiras Hashem v'chulei. That even though there needs to be yira in that case in order for a person to do mitzvahs, and that's what the pasuk is telling us, that the mitzvahs cause a person to do and to receive yira. Right? That's what the Torah is called. It's called the gateway to the dwelling. Right? This is the proof of the two levels, by the way. The lower level of yira, and which inspires a person, and also they're talking about the higher level as well, that a person can reach that yira. Not every mind lamaisa can chap it. Never, don't be upset if you can't get there. Even if you're not able to immerse your brain yirazu and get in this yira and you don't receive it, even not it, not even part of it. We'll see later on, and when he says later on, by the way, he's talking about paying mem aleph, right? So in a long time. The idea is that whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, whether you understand it or not, when you are learning Torah, being miyachad oilamus, you're attaching yourself, you're absorbing yourself in das Hashem. It's not the vehicle that gets you close to Hashem, which is what a mitzvah does, which is also beautiful and amazing. That's why Talmud Torah can get kulam, because at the end of the day, there's nothing greater than being kaviyachol part of the Rabbeinu Shalom and his Ratzon, which is what happens when a person learns. I hope Doilim Chabda. Be'ez Hashem. After Pesach, we shall continue Perek Chav Dalet.